So let's talk about 2026. It is shaping up to be an absolutely landmark year, packed with events that are going to make some serious headlines. And we're talking about moments that will impact everything from national pride and global sports to your own personal finances. And yeah, even the literal change in your pocket.
Okay, let's just take a quick peek at the calendar to see what we're in for. Things kick off in February with Super Bowl LX. Then, come summer, the entire world is going to have its eyes on North America for the FIFA World Cup. We'll also be looking up to the stars with the Artemis 2 moon mission, and then it's back down to Earth for the midterm elections in November. Yeah, it's going to be a whirlwind.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with those huge milestones, then we'll dive into some pretty significant updates to your finances. After that, we'll cover everything from space to politics, take a look at America's massive 250th birthday party, and then wrap it all up with what this really means for you. All right, first up, a year of milestones. We're talking about those massive, can't-miss events that are really going to capture the world's attention and, bring a lot of people together. That's right. The biggest single sporting event on the entire planet is coming right here to North America. The U.S. is set to host the lion's share of the games, including every single match from the quarterfinals onward. And the grand finale? That's all happening at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. I mean, this is a huge deal that's going to put an international spotlight right on our doorstep. Okay, so moving on from the excitement on the soccer pitch to something that, hits a little closer to home for all of us, our wallets. In 2026, a whole series of major federal policy changes are scheduled to kick in, and they're going to have a very direct impact on your paycheck. You know how the tax code always feels like it's changing? Well, 2026 is supposed to be the year things kind of settle down. A new, more permanent federal tax structure is taking hold. What you're looking at here are the income tax brackets for married couples filing jointly. The big takeaway is that this whole framework is designed for the long haul, which hopefully brings some much-needed predictability to your financial planning. And here's a really big piece of that puzzle. The standard deduction is getting a significant bump. For married couples, it's jumping up by $2,200 to $32,200. For single filers, it's up to $16,100. Now, this could actually simplify tax filing for millions of households, since a lot more people will probably just take the standard deduction instead of going through the hassle of itemizing. And this slide, well, it really lays out a major shift in policy. For the first time in a while, if you don't itemize, you can still get a tax break for charitable giving, up to $1,000 for individuals and $2,000 for married couples. But at the same time, there are new caps on deductions for high-income folks who do itemize. It really seems like the goal here is to rebalance the incentives, maybe to encourage more people to make smaller donations. And it's not just about income tax either. We're also looking at a new 1% tax on certain international money transfers, stricter work requirements for SNAP benefits are set to roll out nationwide, and the rules for who qualifies for Affordable Care Act subsidies, those are getting updated too. But one thing that's staying put, at least for now, is the federal minimum wage. All right, so let's zoom out from our bank accounts, because 2026 is also gearing up to be a pretty pivotal year for science, international relations, and, of course, domestic policy. I mean, this is honestly incredible. For the first time in over 50 years, humans are heading back to the moon. The Artemis 2 mission is going to send 4 astronauts, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen, on a journey to fly around the moon and come back to Earth. This is a truly historic moment, a whole new chapter in space exploration. Okay, here's a question that, let's be honest, has been floating around for years. Is it finally time to say goodbye to the 1-cent coin? Well, it looks like 2026 is the year it finally happens. The answer is yes. Based on the Treasury's current plans, the U.S. is set to officially stop minting the penny in early 2026. So you might want to start holding on to a few of those shiny ones. Now, on the world stage, this is a really big deal. The New START Treaty, it's the last major nuclear arms control agreement between the U.S. and Russia. It's scheduled to expire in February, and if it does, with nothing to replace it, that could have huge implications for global stability and security. And of course, back on the home front, all eyes will be on politics as Americans head to the polls on November 3rd. It's the midterm elections, which will, as always, determine who controls Congress and really set the political agenda for the next few years. All right, let's switch gears to what might be the biggest theme of the entire year, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And it's a massive milestone that is already sparking a ton of excitement and a bit of debate. Think about that for a second. 250 years.
On July 4th, 2026, the nation's going to mark its semi-quinticentennial. That's a quarter millennium since its founding. It's a once-in-a-generation moment, for sure, and celebrations are already being planned all across the country to commemorate it.
So you might be wondering, who's actually planning this massive party? Well, at the federal level, it's kind of a two-pronged approach. You've got the U.S. Semi-Quincentennial Commission, which is a nonpartisan group that Congress set up way back in 2016. And then you have the White House Task Force, which was created by executive order just last year. But it hasn't exactly been a smooth ride to get here. As our source material points out, the planning has come with fears of politicization. Debates have popped up over exactly how America's history should be presented and celebrated, and it kind of reflects some of the broader divisions in the country today. Okay, so we've looked at sports, taxes, space, politics, history. What does it all add up to? When you put it all together, what's the big picture for 2026? What's the real takeaway here? It really seems to boil down to these three big themes. First, it's going to be a year of celebration. You've got these huge unifying events like the World Cup and the nation's 250th birthday. Second, it's a year of change, with very real policy shifts that are going to affect our daily financial lives. And third, it's a year of reflection, forcing us to look outward to the moon and inward at our place in the world. So where does that leave us? 2026 is shaping up to be a year of real contrasts. It's bringing together these incredible moments of national pride and celebration right alongside deep structural changes and these ongoing political debates. It really leaves us with a powerful question to think about. How will this landmark year, with all of its celebration, its change, and its division, how will it ultimately shape the next chapter of the American story?